Good morning class, welcome to today's lecture, and today according to your timetable we have history and civics. Till now we have completed the first chapter of civics part, that is democracy, and today we'll be doing the first chapter of history. The name of the chapter is Tracing Changes Through 1,000 Years. This is your first chapter in history part. Let us start this chapter. History is the study of past events through records, mainly written accounts. It does not cover any period in time prior to the invention of writing. History gives the information about the past. The question arises, why to study or know about the past? The answer is, without the knowledge of our past, it is difficult to understand our present. And it also helps us how we are able to maintain our progress through survival and continuity process. Since history is an unending continuous process where one event leads to another, therefore without the knowledge of the past it is difficult to know the present. Okay, so children, we have already studied in class 6. You have already studied in class 6 about history. In first chapter only you have studied about history and what are the sources of history and these topics you have studied in class 6. So no need, you already know what is history. History is the study of past events. Okay, mainly it is the event. We study the events after the invention of writing, because you have already studied that history is divided into two parts. One is prehistory and one is history. Prehistory means the time period before the invention of writing, and history means the time period after the invention of writing. So after when the invention of writing was done, it was very easy for the people, for the historians, to find out what was the situations present, how was the society present in that part. Okay, and the invention of writing has helped the historians to find many historical things. Okay, so as you know that it is very important to study history, because though it is the study of the past, but as you all know that without knowing the knowledge of the past you cannot study or you cannot know what is happening in the present situation. So to know about the present situation, you need to know about the past situations. Like if I give you one example, today in India, as we have studied the first chapter in civics, that is democracy, so I'll be giving you the same example. We have studied we already know that this time we have a democratic form of government in India. But how the democratic form of government came to the country, or how the democratic form of government came to the world, you can only study, you can only know how democracy developed in the world and in India by studying the past. Okay, so history helps us to know the present situation better. Okay, and we also know that since history is an unending continuous process where one event leads to another, therefore without the knowledge of the past it's difficult to know the present. Yes, we already know that history is an unending process. Like suppose I am teaching you right now. Okay, after this you will do the homework, and after doing the homework you will send the homework in the class WhatsApp group. So this is a continuous process, this is an unending event which is happening, right? So if I give it, like you have sent the homework, how you have sent the homework? Because I have sent you the homework in the class WhatsApp group. How I have sent you the homework in the class WhatsApp group? By teaching you the first chapter. So it is a continuous chain that is happening. Okay, so thus to understand the present situation better, history, the study of history is very important. Okay, history also reveals the development of all the facets of human system, whether it is science, technology, society, culture, civilization, food, cloth, and so on. We can learn and understand the importance and use in human life. Yes, you know that it is the study of, it is the, you can say it is the development of human system. Like if I give you how was our life before we were nomadic, we were not having any arms and ammunition, we were not having a fire also. How we invented fire, how we you can say how we invented fire, how we progressed in agriculture, how we progressed in arms and ammunition, and what we are today. Okay, so different human systems have changed, human society has changed. So history gives you the knowledge of these things also. Your next topic is changing terminologies with history. As time changed, the changes occurred not only in the areas but also in the languages and meanings. Historical records exist in variety of languages which have changed considerably over the years. For example, Medieval Persian is different from modern Persian. The difference was not only in the grammar or vocabulary but also in the meaning of words. So here it is telling, like, as time changed, many things changed. With the change of human society, with the change in behavior of people, with the change in atmosphere, with the change in different things, the terminologies used and the languages also changed. Here in the book, the example of Persian language is given. The old Persian language is different from the new Persian language. Not even the grammar, okay, or vocabulary, but the different meanings, but the meanings of different words have also changed. Okay, like if I give you the example of India, in the book also it is given. Over the centuries, there has been a vast change in the meaning of the term Hindustan. Today, it is understood as India, the modern nation state. In ancient time, India was called Bharatvarsha, Jambudweep, Aryavrata. Look at the list below and you would surprise to know this is the things. Okay, like centuries ago, you know that India several names. You already know this. Today, India is called as India. Obviously, it is also called as Bharat. It is also called as Hindustan. It is also called as Bharatvarsh also. You still pronounce India with different names. How have you got these words? How have you got these terminologies? How have you got these names of a country? Due to the change in terminologies according to the period of time. Okay, so the journey of India from Aryavarta to modern India, several things have changed, different situations have changed, and it has also led to the change in terminologies, to the change in the language also. Okay, see here. First, India was called as Jambudweep. That means the land of blackberry trees, and as mentioned in the Buddhist texts. First, India was known as Jambudweep. Why? Because of the presence of blackberry in the country. It was then called as Bharatvarsha, named after Bharat tribe that existed in the Rig Vedic times. During the Rig Vedic times, there was a tribe that lived in India that was called as Bharat tribe. Okay, so that gave the name of the country Bharatvarsha. It was also called as Aryavarta. Why? Because it was the land of Aryans around the northern part of India. In the northern part of India, Aryans lived. That is why it was called as Aryavarta. Okay, Aryavarta. It was also called as Saptsindhu. Why it was called as Saptsindhu? Because the land of rivers was pronounced Hindu in Old Persian. Okay. Now, Hindustan, the name Hindustan came in the 13th century. Why? Because Minhaj-e-Siraj in a chronile described it as Hindustan, the land captured by Muhammad Ghori, and comprised of areas of Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, and other parts of modern Uttar Pradesh. India was called as Hindustan when the Muslims invaded India, when the rulers from the Central Asia invaded India, and first Muhammad Ghori referred to his capture, like the parts whatever he captured, he named it as Hindustan. And what happened? Babur, the first Mughal emperor, he described the entire Indian subcontinent as Hindustan. Okay, India Hindu in French became Indi. Okay, Hindu in French became Indi, pronounced as Indi. The word came into English as India. Understood? Okay. Now, the same term nowadays has undergone a change in meaning. Like this is the things how the term India has changed from Bharat Varsha, from Jambu Dweep to India. Okay. Now, earlier the word foreigner, today you know what does the foreigner word means? It means that a person who belongs to a country that is not our own. If I say he is a foreigner, it means he lives in different country. But in the medieval times, foreigner or Pardeshi was known as, foreigners are also called Pardesis, you know that? Okay. It referred to the people who came into the town or village from outside. Now we refer them as those who live outside. But earlier we used to refer them as those who came to our land, those who came to our village or town from other part of the world. Okay. Now next is very important topic, periodization of history. History can be divided into three categories. How many categories? Three categories. First is ancient India, ancient period. Second is modern period, and second is medieval period, and third is modern period. First ancient period, second medieval period, and third is modern period. In India, ancient period starts from Harappa civilization in 3000 BC till Chola dynasty in 985 AD. So what is the rough you can say roughly figure timeline of the ancient India, which starts from Harappa civilization in 3000 BC till Chola dynasty in 985 AD. Next comes medieval India. You can roughly categorize it from the invasion of Ghazni of Somnath temple in 126 AD till Siraj-ud-Daulah captured Calcutta in 1756 AD. You can roughly say that the period of medieval India was from 126 AD to 1756 AD, and the modern period starts from the Battle of Plassey in 1757 AD till the partition of India and independence on 15 August 1947. From 1757 to 1947, you can say it as modern period. Still, if you will study this history of this time, it will be categorized as modern only. Okay, not medieval or ancient. It will be categorized as modern only. Okay, sources of history. As in the last class we have studied, there are only two sources of history. Sources of history means the sources from where you get the knowledge what happened in the past. Sources of history means the place from where, the source from where you get the knowledge what happened in the past. Like any other thing, there are only two sources of history. One is archaeological sources and one is literary sources. And we'll be doing this in the next class. Okay, children? Your homework will be, you have to read this chapter, and in the next class, we'll be doing this chapter in detail. Thank you, children, for joining the class. Thank you so much. I hope you are safe during this COVID-19 pandemic and you are doing your work on time. Okay. Thank you.